Hello, everyone. This is my speech for business communications and professional development. My name is James Kuczma, and this is for Dr. Tekle. At 18 years old, I was facing criminal charges. I was placed in temporary housing by the United States Marine Corps, and I was reunited with my parents for a brief period of time. I listened to Admiral McRaven's Make Your Bed speech every single day and night while training harder than I ever had to ship off to Marine Corps boot camp. That speech alone helped change the trajectory of my life. I'd experienced extreme failure, being homeless at 14, battling illness and depression, losing everything, and falling between the cracks of society. After the military, I'd worked 6 jobs in 3 years trying to find stability. I failed again and again, but each time I rose stronger than the last. And failure isn't the end of success, but it's where it truly begins. First, I'm going to explain the ways that failure nearly broke me. Then I'll show you how I changed my mindset. And finally, I'll give you the steps that you need to help rise through your own setbacks. So let me begin with the time when life hit me the hardest and I failed to stand tall. When I was 14, everything I had, my home, my health, my sense of identity, had all been stripped away faster than I could react or think. I bounced between couches, slept on the streets, I missed thousands of meals, and I watched my health deteriorate simultaneously. Dropping out of school felt inevitable. And this level of early life failure disconnects you from normalcy. You quickly begin to feel invisible. And the hardest part wasn't the hunger, but it was coming to terms with understanding that no one's coming to the rescue. Only I could save myself from this nightmare. After exiting the Marine Corps, I failed to adapt to the normal world. And in just 2 years, I held jobs in security, pet food production, solar sales, carpentry, pest control. I was overworked, manipulated, underpaid, and I was even left stranded at times. I keep trying to rebuild my life, but each job just adds to my frustration. And I was going from the structure of the military to the mess of the civilian life. It left me mentally exhausted. And I started to believe that all that I had left to offer was failure. And no matter how many times I got back up, life seemed to knock me down harder. All the pain and mistakes started to make me question if I would ever even catch a break. And when failure becomes your routine, you start wondering if you'll ever win or become successful. I felt like I had messed up so much that there wasn't anything left to fix. We grow up thinking that failure is a sign of weakness or that it's something that we should run, maybe even hide from. But according to research from the Harvard Business School, Amy Edmondson had stated most people do whatever they can do to avoid failing. And when they do stumble, their instinct is to hide their mistakes rather than openly acknowledge them. This belief discourages people from trying. It teaches them to give up right after their first setback, which in turn robs them of any potential growth. And failure isn't meant to destroy us, but it's meant to teach us who we're capable of becoming and what our true possibilities are. Failure should be seen as feedback instead of defeat. And according to Beaumont Enterprise in 2025, people with a growth mindset, which are those who embrace challenges and setbacks, achieve greater long-term success than those who avoid failure. Changing how we define failure gives us power over it. It becomes a teacher, not a threat. So we should be changing how we define failure. Failure only has as much power as you give it, so define failure as a teacher rather than a threat. If we view failure as a strength, society would be more resilient. Every person would take more chances, they'd recover faster, and we could grow together. Failure would cease to be an ending point. Instead, it would be a valuable lesson along your journey. So step 1 is simple. Stand back up every single time you fall. Even if the world overlooks you, you still matter. Only a stronger, wiser version of yourself can save you. And that version of you is only born through failure. The second thing I need you to do is to use the pain as fuel. Put that chip on your shoulder, let it drive you. I didn't care if it took 100 jobs. I knew where I belonged, and I found it within Tektronic Industries. It's where I work now. And remember, that pain is okay. It means that you're still in the fight. The third thing I need you to do is to embrace discipline and structure. So build small habits, like making your bed. General McRaven once said, changing the world starts with making your bed. I did, and it changed my life. Discipline becomes your anchor when everything else is chaos. The best habit that a human can develop is discipline. It's what will keep you grounded and on top of your routine. Now, the fourth and final thing that I need you to do is to help others through their failures as well. True strength is reaching behind you to help somebody else rise. Now, I was lucky enough for someone to believe in me, so I actively try to do the same for others. So please do yourself a favor and normalize failure. Support yourself and those around you to ensure that you rise together. I shared with you how failure broke me and rebuilt me, and how it can do the same for you. So you aren't invisible, even if you've slipped through the cracks. Your comeback is still completely possible. It's not about how hard you fall, but it's about how many times you get back up. And getting up is your only option. At 18, my life was hanging on by a thread, but I listened to the Make Your Bed speech by Admiral McRaven. I trained harder than I had ever had. I had made my bed, and that small act turned into the foundation of everything that I've become. That is my speech for business communications and professional development. My name is James Kuczma, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for your time.